is the God storyline in RTD2 working? Yes, let's address it. I'm hot, I'm sweaty, I'm a bit grim right now. Just go with it. I'm still recording this and giving you content. Yeah, so I'll have none of your bloody sass. Yeah. How am I? Now, it's quite weird of me to answer this. No, it's not weird. It's a YouTube video. It's quite an odd question for me to ask because, honestly, I would say about half of the gods so far have worked for me on an individual basis. I would say the Toymaker's appearance, I really enjoyed. While I wasn't absolutely buzzing about her episode, I think Maestro was incredible. And I think Lux really, really worked. However, Omega and Sutek, genuinely some pretty piss poor villains. And that brings me to today's mission statement. Does the God storyline, is it working? Should we bin it? Should we adapt it? Should we change it? What should we do? By the way, yes, I know that stupid little baby in the Series 2 finale was also a god, but if this always calls me while I'm recording videos. Sorry about that. Rudely interrupted. Now, let's be honest. Let's dissect the semi-clear pattern. The two gods that really haven't worked are the two gods that were big classic villains. Yes, I understand Toymaker was also a big classic villain. Let me swing back round. Now, the problem I think genuinely comes with the fact of these characters were completely changed to what they were. I mean, actually, no, scratch that. To a certain extent, they were just badly done. I mean, certainly Omega really just didn't work because we only care about Omega because classic fans know about Omega, just for Omega to turn up and Omega just be a big CGI monster who's just ended in seconds and just completely irrelevant. Not only have you just told a bad story within itself, but unfortunately, you've also done a disservice to a previously much interesting character. And to a certain extent, you've done that with Sutek. I genuinely do not think turning any previous character who, any character in Classic Who just existed and then turning them into a big CGI monster, for me, doesn't work. If they already existed as a big CGI monster, fair enough. Game's the game. I hold my hands up. But you can't just turn them into a CGI monster willy-nilly. That doesn't work. Now, the Toymaker, I think, is a little bit different. Firstly, because the context into which the character appears is the same. You have a human playing games in the classic era. Well, a human actor, so visually it's the same, and it's the same thing they're doing, and you've done the same thing in the modern era. They changed too much with Omega and Sutek, but the Toymaker wasn't changed that much. And also, I think, let's be honest, I'm not, this isn't anything against the Toymaker, but Sutek and Omega are iconic characters, so when you're talking about Classic Who fans, even if they messed up Toymaker, there's less at stake because you're kind of annoying less people by messing with Toymaker, if that makes sense. But I think the pattern really is telling a good story and doing it interestingly. Because let's be honest, Maestro had a really interesting story and was just a great characterization, something that Sutek and Omega didn't have. And honestly, the same for Mr. Ring-a-Ding. That was just another great characterization in a really fun, interesting story. Now, I think what helps both Maestro and Mr. Ring-a-Ding is that they're original characters. They can be built completely around the story without changing any part of their identity, because they didn't have an identity to begin with. They are written around the story. Whereas with Sutek and Omega, you have previous lit story that you are always fighting against. And in the case of them, you're definitely fighting against them. I also don't think the translation from classic to modern helps that kind of character, especially if you want to give them that level of power. Like, for example, they've mentioned the fact that the Trickster is part of this pantheon of gods, and I think the Trickster would work because he's appeared in the modern era. You know, he appeared literally in 2009 with a David Tennant appearance. You wouldn't suddenly have to change his appearance really that much. He can exist in the same context, playing the same kind of things. The only thing that's changed is he's now part of the pantheon of gods, but nothing about his power set or the type of episode you'd get with him would change. So I think that's my first point. Stories with the gods can work, but you have to tell a good story. But I think I want to dig a little bit more surface level, and why overall I probably am against god stuff. And honestly, it's just because it makes the resolutions to episodes a bit rubbish. The problem is, by design, the gods are really, really powerful. Every time we meet a god, you know, the Doctor does the dread face, and then, you know, we as the audience are expected to believe that this is an almighty, terrifying foe for the Doctor to face. The problem is, when you set up such high heights for the Doctor to beat, the resolution can never... You've either got to do the thing of, right, well, we've got to kind of beat him or them with their own rules, which gets... We've kind of seen these gods being beaten by their own rules quite a few times now, or, especially, and this kind of happened in the case of both Sutekh and Omega, we kind of have to do something very Deus Ex Machina-y that feels very unsatisfying. Yes, I understand Deus Ex Machina is just generally part of Russel's style of finale writing. It's always been there from RTD1 Series 1. We get it, that's how the man does things. But with the gods, he's already written into that corner. He's got no chance of telling interesting sci-fi stories. I think the problem is, as well, general audiences are just bored of them. At the end of the day, the god storyline can only work if audiences are excited to see the gods. And unfortunately, the gods, especially in finale episodes, have a pretty pretty bore? The gods have a pretty bore... I said it again. Use an A, James. The gods have a pretty bad track record, especially in finales, and therefore fans' excitement, just not there anymore. So yeah, if you're asking me whether the god stuff is working, I'd say no, because whenever they appear, fans aren't quite as excited anymore. I'd say the only, like, real top-tier episode we've had with the gods is Lux, and, you know, especially as RTD in the non-god episodes, honestly has a much better success rate, and also, I think it's time, bring back the army. You know what? Lower the stakes a little bit of a finale. No, we don't need a Ransfor of Colossus level shite finale, but we don't need such a high stakes. Oh, we literally within about 2 or 3 finales went from we literally went from Rosfor of Colossus to literally everyone in the universe is dying until Ncuti drags Sutekh through the time vortex. It just doesn't work, and we need to work on it. There we are, that's my opinions on all the god stuff. We got through it, and I'm still a sweaty mess. Boy, it is hot in here. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, please subscribe, please do all of that bloody good stuff you lot are so good at. I thank you for watching to the end of this video. Thank you for the support. You're all gems. Bosh. Video, subscribe.